Help me hit 7,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. I'm Alden, 34 years old. And for most of my adult life, I believe that when you love someone, you give them space, trust, and a quiet place to come home to. That belief held me steady for years, until the week everything I understood about love was turned inside out. I met Mira 3 years ago, in a little bookstore cafe where she used to curl up with travel guides and sketch on napkins. She had this warm, thoughtful smile that made you feel like she was really listening. And from the start, one thing about her was unmistakable. She loved traveling. Not just loved. It was her identity, her comfort, her escape, her pulse. I respected that. I admired it. And maybe, if I'm honest, I romanticized it a little too much. But nothing ever felt off. We were stable, communicative, affectionate in our own quiet ways. Mira wasn't loud or dramatic. She was gentle, reserved, and often lost in her own world. I never imagined she'd shut me out of that world entirely. The trouble didn't start with a fight. It started with a sentence. "I'm thinking about taking a solo trip to Vancouver," she said one evening, casually stirring her tea. "Just a little reset before things get too busy." I didn't think much of it. Solo travel wasn't new for her. She always came back with photos of lakes, street markets, people she befriended, stories she'd laughed through while leaning against my shoulder. But this time, her tone was different. Lighter, almost rehearsed. I felt something tighten in my chest, but I told myself not to overthink it. People grow. People need space. Trust matters. A week before the trip, though, something shifted. She grew distant in small ways. Shorter texts, distracted conversations, a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. When I asked if everything was okay, she'd brush my concern away gently, like swatting a dust speck off her sleeve. Then came the morning she left. She hugged me quickly, grabbed her backpack and said, "Signal might be bad. Okay? Don't panic if I'm offline." I laughed it off. I trusted her. I kissed her forehead and told her to enjoy her adventure. Later that day, when I texted her just to say, "Have a safe flight," it didn't deliver. I shrugged, assuming she was airborne. But a few hours later, something in my stomach twisted. I tried calling. One ring, then nothing. I tried again. Straight to voicemail. I logged into my laptop and checked my messages, thinking maybe something was wrong with my phone. But no, everything else worked. She had blocked me. Not an accident. Not a glitch. My number, my calls, my messages, silenced deliberately. My first reaction wasn't anger. It was confusion. A cold, sinking confusion that felt like standing at the edge of a cliff without understanding how you got there. I told myself there must be a reason, a mistake, a sudden emergency, anything but the obvious truth clawing at my mind. For 2 days I waited. I tried her again, and again. Nothing changed. I didn't tell anyone, not even my best friend Calder, because admitting it out loud made it real. Instead, I sat alone in our apartment, staring at the untouched mug she left in the sink, wondering what part of our life she had quietly stepped out of while I wasn't looking. On the 3rd day, her sister Sophie texted me, "Have you heard from Mira?" She said she needed some air. Didn't say why. I guess blocking your partner's number is one way to get it. I didn't reply immediately. I just stared at the message until the screen dimmed. A strange, quiet shift happened inside me. Not anger, not heartbreak, something clearer, like the moment fog lifts and the landscape suddenly makes sense. If she needed to disappear, fine. But I didn't owe her a version of myself that waited obediently in the doorway. So I started packing. I folded my clothes neatly, placed my books in boxes, unplugged the lamp she always said made our living room feel safe. I took my keys off the hook by the door. The apartment felt smaller with every item I removed, like it had only been spacious when I believed it was truly ours. By the time her plane touched down 5 days later, the place was half empty. And for the first time that week, I felt calm, like I was finally breathing in a room that had been suffocating me without my noticing. When Mira walked back into the apartment, she wasn't coming home to me. I wasn't there anymore. and I wasn't planning on coming back. When Mira finally unblocked me, almost 24 hours after landing, my phone lit up with a simple message. I'm home. Where are you? I stared at it for a moment, not because I didn't know what to say, but because for the first time in our relationship, I didn't feel obligated to cushion her confusion. I didn't owe her explanations for choices she made behind a wall she built. I replied, I moved out. The typing bubble appeared instantly, frantic in a way she never was. What? Why? Can we talk? Can we talk? The irony burned a little, but in a clean, quiet way, like alcohol on a cut that's already closing. I didn't respond. Instead, I drove to my new place, a small, calm apartment on the other side of town. The walls were bare, the kitchen echoey, the bedroom unfurnished except for a mattress on the floor. But it felt peaceful. No tension humming under the surface. No walking on emotional eggshells. Just space. Honest, uncluttered space. 2 hours passed before she tried again. Alden, I don't understand. Please answer me. I sat on the mattress, watching the message glow in the dark. And for the first time, I understood something about myself. Sometimes you don't know how much someone has drained you until they're no longer standing in the room. I left the phone face down. The next morning, as I made coffee in my silent new kitchen, she called, this time from a different number. Her voice came through, thin and trembling. Alden, are you okay? Just tell me what's going on. I took a slow breath. I'm fine. Then why did you leave? She whispered. There were 100 ways I could have answered her. 100 small betrayals I could have listed. Her quiet withdrawals, her indifferent goodnights, the way she'd started moving through our home like she was already somewhere else. But none of that mattered as much as the one choice she made without hesitation. You blocked me, I said simply. Silence. Not shocked silence, guilty silence. Heavy silence. The kind that makes truth visible even when no one speaks it. Alden, I just needed space, she finally said. I wasn't thinking straight. The trip was overwhelming. I didn't want constant messages while I was trying to clear my head. You could have told me, I replied. You could have said anything instead of shutting me out. I know. I messed up. But I didn't think you'd leave. That sentence told me everything I needed to know. She hadn't blocked me because she needed space. She had blocked me because she expected I'd wait patiently on the other side of the locked door, loyal and silent, ready to forgive her as soon as she turned the knob again. I wasn't that man anymore. I didn't leave to punish you, I said. I left because that moment told me exactly where I stood in your life. Alden, please, she breathed. This is not what I wanted. What did you want, then? There was another long silence before she said, quietly, I just wanted a break. A break from me, I clarified. A break from everything. The thing about vague answers is that they're only comforting when you still want to believe them. I didn't. I'm not angry at you, I said truthfully. But I'm done being someone you can put on pause. Her voice cracked. Can you at least come home so we can talk face to face? This isn't my home anymore. The soft sob that followed didn't shake me like it once would have. I cared about her, I always had. But caring for someone doesn't mean belonging to their uncertainty. Love shouldn't feel like being benched while they decide if they still want you in the game. Alden, she whispered. I made a mistake. Please, don't do this. I'm not doing anything, I said quietly. I'm just stepping out of the space you cleared. She tried again and again over the next few days. Texts, calls, long paragraphs promising honesty, change, explanations she should have given long before she boarded that plane. I read them, but they didn't pull at me anymore. The truth was simple. I had already mourned the version of us that worked, and I wasn't willing to rebuild a new version on top of abandonment. A week later, I went back to the old apartment to grab the last of my things. Mira wasn't there, but she'd left a note on the counter. I'm sorry. I didn't realize blocking you would break us. I folded the note carefully, not out of sentiment, but out of closure. It didn't break us. It revealed us. Her need for space wasn't the problem. Her method was, when you shut someone out completely, You don't get to choose whether they're still waiting on the other side when you return. As I locked the door behind me for the last time, I felt something unexpected. Lightness. Relief. A deep, grounded certainty that sometimes the most respectful thing you can do for yourself is walk away from the version of love that expects you to disappear on command. Mira went on her trip alone. She came back alone. And I started a new chapter the moment I understood that gone for good wasn't an act of spite. It was the first honest thing I'd done for myself in years.